All right, we are live. Welcome to the lunch break here at FNGO Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. So glad you guys can join us today. A lot of you guys will be joining us here shortly as the show gets going. But if you listen to this at a later date, like on iTunes or Spotify, we appreciate you guys so much. And those of you out there on TikTok, as you're coming in and out, got a great show for you today. Today, we're going to start doing our viewers interview. I guess that's the best way we can say it. What I want to do is every Tuesday and Thursday, bring on somebody that's been watching us so that the rest of us can get to know them, some other than a screen name. So when I'm looking, I see the screen name. We're going to try that. We tried it last Thursday, but I absolutely messed it all up by sending Colton the wrong link. But now Colton Posey Fishing is going to be on here in a second. And we're going to get it going. So just giving time for everybody to join on. It's, Labor Day, having Monday off absolutely throws me off. I love the 3-day weekend. I actually did not do anything hardly at all. What's up, John? I didn't do anything at all hardly with FNG over the weekend. I checked socials a little bit, but I tried to have an absolutely just weekend to clear the clutter in my head because you guys know how I work. What's up, Eddie Hudson? Appreciate you joining us today. Again, and all you over there on TikTok, jump in the conversation when we get going. But I did. Sometimes you just have to absolutely just, you know what? Because all I ever think about is this up here. And I'm like, I need a few days just to chill. And so I did that. Didn't go fishing, didn't do anything like that. But a lot of guys did. And we're going to talk about that, especially tonight on the live well. So tonight at 8, it's just going to be the crew. And we're going to discuss what the bite is right now because we've got Ryan Sheffield's tournament coming up, the benefit tournament coming up on Saturday the 6th. And so we're going to kind of try to do a little primer, getting ready for that. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. What's up, Doug? We'll discuss those things and just kind of get back into the flow of things. I know some guys struggled, some guys didn't this weekend. Far Dog and Cam, what's going on? So that's what we're going to do tonight. Is just have a great, simple conversation about what we can do to be ready for Saturday. Fried chicken, collard greens, peach cobbler. It's what's for lunch. Doc Holliday. Absolutely, dude. I ain't had no good collard greens in a while. Tyler Shellnut, excited to fish the tournament Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be really good. The weather is supposed to be nice. I know that. So I always love it when people call me on my phone during the show. I ain't answering. Coleman Jones, what's up? So anyway, let's go ahead and let's get this thing going so I can bring Colton on, because what we're going to do today, I think he's from Alabama, I believe. And so we're going to kind of get a little feel for what's going on over there. But let's go ahead and do our day in history. A couple of big things happened today. I want you guys to understand this and be ready for it. Somebody talks about it. In 1945, on September 2nd, Japan formally surrendered in a ceremony aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, officially ending World War II. So that's one little thing. And this one, too, this affects us all now, every one of us. In 1969, in what some regard as the birth of the internet, okay? 2 connected computers at the University of California, Los Angeles passed test data, I guess, through a 15-foot cable. They were able to send something from one to the other. And that, a lot of people say, is the birth of the internet, because now we're sending information everywhere via computers and all that. But Al Gore was not there. Al Gore did not take part in this. Al Gore did not invent the internet. All right? So with that, now that you guys have some useless information, one other thing, too, we had Emil Wagner on last Thursday, Bassmaster Elite rookie. In April 1944, Fort McGillivray was abandoned here in Alaska. There you go. The traveling fisherman joins in on TikTok. Gone fishing with Ed. What's going on, guys? So we had Emil on. He left his Zuns here. And so I probably have his DNA on here. So if any of you guys are into cloning or anything like that, I will be auctioning this off. Not for charity, for me, 100% for me. So let's go ahead and, guys, I want to introduce you to Mr. Colton. Let's see. While I'm doing that, this mouse is awful. We are down in Florida, and transmission went out in my car as soon as we got here. That's peg leg. Well, dude, you need a ride back? We'll figure it out. So anyway, there's Mr. Colton. Colton, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad we got it figured out.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, I apologize. And for those of you on TikTok, you're just gonna have to listen because we haven't got it figured out how to bring the picture over there. But on YouTube, we've got Colton's smiling face right there. And so anyway, so did sell your toe for a transmission, peg leg. That's what Messick said. YouTube audio is way better than the TikToks. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. But we try to put it in. It's I didn't do this. I'm not the technical one here. I'm just the mouth. Anyway, Colton, so first of all, appreciate you joining me. Where did you first learn about Fish North Georgia? Because you just started popping up in the comments section. So I'm just curious as how you got here.
It just popped up on my YouTube news feed, whatever you call it, just on the main screen. And then I got a friend of mine that actually watches you guys. He fishes Lewis Smith a lot. So a lot of the stuff y'all talk about translates into Lewis Smith, with it being a herring lake and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that's kind of like one of our appeals. One of the things that appeals other anglers about us is the North Georgia area, the Highland reservoirs with the herring lakes and all that. So those outside of Georgia, they have similar type, lakes. They like to watch us and all that. So now tell everybody where you're located at.
I'm located in North Alabama. I usually fish around the areas like Lewis Smith Lake. There's a reservoir nobody's probably ever heard of called Upper Bear Creek. And then Bankhead Lake, everybody knows it as Warrior River. I go up to Gunners full time to time, Wilson, Wheeler, Pickwick, all that. It just kind of depends. But I'm in that North Alabama area.
Well, I'm going to have to ask you, what happened to Alabama Saturday?
Oh, I have no idea. Look, I am not a huge football fan. Like I'm not crazy about like football and stuff. So I actually like watching Georgia Tech, believe it or not. My dad gives me a hard time. He hates it every time I say it, but I actually like watching Georgia Tech.
So Chris Garrison says, heck yeah, we live on Sand Mountain, hotty totty. Good Lord. Yeah, well, I'll tell you this too. Like I did not go to Georgia. I didn't go to Tech, but my dad was a Tech fan. So I'll root for everybody, but I root for the Jackets too. There's no shame in that, not at all. So tell me though, what kind of fishing do you like to do? We're trying to get everybody to understand who some of our viewers are. Would you consider yourself a power guy, a finesse guy? So who are you?
I'm 100% a power fisherman. Anybody that's watched my channel over the past couple of years, they know that. You can't beat a crankbait or a spinnerbait bite. I don't care what anybody says. It's just hard to beat. That's the way that I grew up fishing, kind of, sort of. My dad was always big. He's the one that introduced me into fishing, and my mother. And they've always been the top, throw a Texas rig worm. It doesn't matter the conditions, where you're at or whatever. And when I put a spinnerbait in my hand and I got started catching fish, then I was like, okay, I much prefer this over, doing that over there. So I'm 100% a power fisherman. I'm even with the whole forward facing sonar ordeal and stuff, I'm still shallow all the time.
Okay, I got you. Now you mentioned, I think you did. There was a lot in that answer. You have social media, and before we go any further, I want to give you a chance to shout that out, so that people can actually go follow you. And that's what this is all about too, guys. You guys watching, if we bring somebody on and they've got some socials, go give them a sub, give them a follow. And we're just trying to build our community up bigger and bigger as we go. And so what is your socials?
Well, I really appreciate that. You can actually just go to Google or any social media platform and just type in Colton Posey Fishing. It'll pull up all my stuff. That's what I do full time. So I'd really appreciate the follow and appreciate you helping out just the community of creators.
Well, that, you know what? At least you made it easy. Colton Posey Fishing, because some of the guys have it'll be Colton Posey _ they're all different on everyone. So that's easy. So
the easiest way to do it is just type into Google Colton Posey Fishing. It'll pull up everything.
That's the way I like to do that. Parker wants to know how the bite on Lanier. What are they biting right now? Chris Garrison, can I put an advertisement plug in? So first, Parker, we're actually going to talk more. If you could come back tonight at 8, we're going to be talking about Lanier specifically tonight on the live well. It's tough for some guys and other guys are slaying it, but we're going to really do a deep dive tonight. And Chris, throw out your advertisement plug. I'll read it. And Coleman says, love the idea of hosting random viewers. So that's what we're going to do, because every time we do a podcast, and we're one of the few that like to go live every time. And I see it, and I start learning people's names, and I see their screen names. And we just want to introduce you guys to that, because it's just, you're here every time, so might as well get to learn who you are. So with power fishing, is that what you do mostly on your socials? Is that what we're going to see?
Mainly, one of the things that I like to do is I kind of do my content. I don't know if I do it differently from most people that's trying to give tips and tricks and breakdowns and things like that. But I've got a set schedule on days that I go, and depending on what the fish do that day, depends on what I talk about, what I found. If I can't get them to bite anything but a finesse bait, then that next week or other week video is going to be about something finessey or whatever the case may be. And that's the thing. It's not that I don't finesse fish. It's just I'm kind of going to try to fish my way. And if it don't work out, then I'm going to move on to something, that may possibly work out.
Okay. I normally have guys that are clicking all these buttons for me. So I'm trying. There we go. I had to figure out how to get you in there by yourself. It makes for better TikToks and stuff like that.
There you go.
Yeah. And I'm, God bless Alex, Tony, and Tim for doing all this. All right. Okay, so let me read Chris Garrison's thing. I'm on the Tough TUFF Skins with a Z staff. If you need anything, give me a holler. Power pole covers, graph covers. Chris, send me some information, fngo.com. Danny at fngo.com so we can see what you're doing. Everything is completely customizable. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking, other than fishing?
Or is it fishing? I'm on social media full time.
There you go. Okay, so you're getting to live a dream that a lot of guys want to do. So,
Well, there's a lot more to it than a lot of people think. And this. It's very, very difficult to it's very, very difficult to quit what you're doing typically in your normal job and to just jump to either tournament fishing or social media, whatever the case may be. Luckily, me and my wife, we worked our tails off. And we got everything paid off. Everything's paid off, home, everything. So our bills run us about $700-800 a month. And, that's kind of when I kept working at the social media and stuff. And then we finally made the jump, after we felt comfortable enough to do so. So, you're not rolling in money. That's one thing. You're not rolling in money. No. You got to do it because you love it.
100%. Listen, I'm proud of you. That's awesome right there. Because a lot of guys, they do think that all you got to do is take a video and stick it on there, and now your social media and all that. And they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, I will say this. Taking a video and putting it on there is a good start. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you drop the crappiest video in 720p, it doesn't matter. Get something out there and get used to it. And as you keep doing it, you'll get more comfortable on camera and engaging with your audience and figure out kind of where your genre is. Whether that's in the fishing industry or whatever, you decide to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's awesome. So let's see. Fred Ashcraft said, that's what sets you guys apart is you're live and interactive with your viewers. Yes, sir. That's the way we want to be. And Steve Sturgeon, hosting a viewer, true out-of-the-box thinking. So watch this. Steve, I'm going to try to do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Steven Sturgeon, you have the open invite if you want to be my Thursday guest, especially since you're from up in Illinois. I know all the Georgia boys around here, and that's what I want to do is get to know all you fellas from outside the state of Georgia. So, Stephen, let me know, and if you don't want to do it, I'll go to the next one. Messick Outdoors has a question for you. How important is it for you to interact with your viewers?
Very important. That's one of the things that just outside of being a creator, I'm also a consumer. So when I watch Fishing North of Georgia or, Ben Milliken or anybody, if I ask a question, I would like for that individual or, whoever I'm watching to reply as long as it's, a correct question. It's nothing, crazy or out of the box or whatever, but it's very, very important to me. And that's one of the things that I've always done on my channel is anytime people comment, you can jump over to my YouTube stuff and you'll see it. I'm always commenting, back. Make sure to try and answer. And if I don't have an answer, it is what it is. I just tell them, hey, I don't know, or, hey, this guy over here seems like he's more knowledgeable on it. You may want to holler at this dude or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. We try to do it. Now, when you're on TikTok, Instagram, when you're on everything, it's very, very hard, and especially like on TikTok when you're putting out 3 videos a day like we are currently, it's very hard to interact, to answer every single question. We try to, but that's part of the work that I think a lot of people don't understand. If you want to grow your channel, you've got to talk to the people watching your stuff.
You do. And I'm new to TikTok, so I had an issue with TikTok. I'm sure you know this now. You can actually schedule posts now. Your videos. You used to couldn't, so that become a big issue with me because I'm very, very busy outside of the fishing, all the fishing stuff. Which you know this, I talked to you about it last Thursday, but I stay extremely busy outside of that. So, but I do. That's like if you message me on Messenger, you know this, you get a generic message saying that I'll contact you as soon as I can. Because sometimes it may be a couple days, but don't ever think if you message me or something like that I'm not going to respond. If you spout out something crazy or something like that, I'm not going to respond. But if you got a generic question or something that is serious, then absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. And you can't get to all of them, but you try. You try. Yes. Now, you guys in the comment section, whether you're on TikTok or whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you have a question for Colton, absolutely throw it out there. I will absolutely ask him. That's part of this. We want you guys to get to know it. Christopher Garrison finally got a handle on here. Good. It is a better experience on YouTube than it is on TikTok. I'll say that when it comes to the live stuff. Now, let me ask you this. Professional bass fishing. You follow it?
I do. To an extent. I'm not huge on bass anymore. And it's not because they didn't ban forward facing sonar or anything like that. And I have nothing against the technology. I got it on my boat. I like it. I just have a hard time watching somebody do it, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I play video games, right? Like I'll play a video game maybe once or twice a week, late at night with a couple of my buddies, and then hop off. But I don't want to sit there and watch my buddies play it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I like watching NPFL, man. I've gotten really big on watching the NPFL. I really, really enjoy that. But that's the way that I grew up watching fishing. So, to his of his own, whatever,
Okay, well, give me your top 5 professional anglers right now, in your opinion.
Oh, 100%. Well, that's not retired?
No, got to be fishing right now. Right now. That's in the game.
Gerald Swindle, Dustin Connell, Jacob Wheeler. Man, that's tough. 5.
Yeah, you did. You got 3. Give me 2 more.
Yeah, probably Kyle Welcher.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know who would be number 5. That is a tough question, dude.
Did you see Swindle's eye? He got his eye dotted. Did you see Swindle's black eye?
No.
Swindle put out a video where he, I guess, was on a beach trying to break up a fight. Boy, he got popped. Like, this eye is just jet black. That's his story. That's the story anyway. Yeah, you need to go check it out on Facebook. Steve Sturgeon, Hogan said he just watched that video. Yeah, it just came out. Yeah, he got dotted, dude, big time. Steve Sturgeon, here's your question. Are you a shallow water or deep water fish chaser? Now, I'm going to say, since you're a power guy from earlier, you like going shallow.
Well, it really depends on the season, right? So in summer, I typically want to go deep, but, like a video that I did a while back, like I said, just because it's hot doesn't mean the fish aren't shallow. You've got residential fish and you've got non-residential fish. You got fish that migrate during the spawn and all that and move back out during the spawn and all that. So to me, you can find fish either or. It depends on the season. So this time of year, I'm going out on the main. I'm looking for schools of fish, and I'm going to try to deep crank them or whatever. I was up on Gunnersville a couple weeks ago, and on a ledge, these fish were like 15, 20 foot deep, and I was cranking with a Series 3, something that nobody would crank that deep ledge with, but it was staying in that 8 foot range where the bait was, and I was whacking them, So I will go deep, but it just kind of depends if those fish are active or inactive, If I can't find active fish deep, then I'm definitely going shallow, because I may only catch 5 shallow, but they're typically going to be some pretty decent ones.
Okay. TikTok question for you from Hogan. What's your PB? And what type of bass do you prefer? Largemouth, spot, smallmouth? But what's your PB?
My PB is 10-11. So that's the only double-digit bass I've ever caught in my life. And I was grinning ear to ear the whole time. You couldn't even see my earlobes. But
I bet.
man, I have to say spotted bass, 100%. I love catching spotted bass. I've got Lewis Smith Lake close to me, so we've got them big old football spots, and then another reservoir that I just filmed on yesterday called Upper Bear Creek. And Upper Bear Creek's not known for big fish, but you can go up there on Labor Day, and you're going to have probably 30, 40 boats, but about 25 of them's fishing. The other ones are just barely cruising around playing, so you can actually get around on that lake, but it's not known for big fish, but it is full of spotted bass. You can go up there and catch 100 fish a day if you wanted to. It's exciting to me because the guy that goes with me that does a lot of my filming, he's not huge into fishing. He's using like a crappie rod with just straight 50-pound braid on it and, stuff like that. So being able to carry somebody, and then I've got some kids that watch my stuff that I carry with me, being able to carry them to somewhere like that and see them catch spotted bass. You catch those spotted bass that are this big, but they're this big around.
Oh, yeah.
It's just hard to beat that fight.
Have you ever been to Lanier?
I have. I've been to Lanier and Murray.
And Murray? What did you think of Lanier? What did you think of Lanier? Because I'll tell you why. Because I laugh when I hear everybody else talk about football bass. Because Lanier is like, that's it. That's all you get out there.
Yeah.
14-inch bass can weigh 3.5, 4 pounds if he's been eating right. What did you think of Lanier?
It's very, very similar to Smith. It's different in some ways, but it's similar. I enjoyed it, if that's what you're asking. It's just, my thing is with the Heron Lakes, I stayed on Lewis Smith Lake for so many years to try and figure it out, because when I started fishing a Heron Lake, I was fishing out of a 1989 Lowe's aluminum bass boat with a 40-horse Johnson on the back of it that sounded like your grandmother that smoked for 100 years, coughing every time you tried to crank it up. Just terrible. You're lucky to get it to run. And no electronics. And I spent years on that lake trying to figure it out. So now it's kind of like every now and again I get that itch to go to a Heron Lake, typically in the colder months because those spotted bass are more aggressive, as you know. But I want to chase large heads right now, man. That's just what I feel. That's what I want to do. If I can't get a hold of the large heads, I'll move over to spotted bass, which is one of the cool things about a lot of our fisheries around here. We got largemouth, we've got spotted bass, we got smallmouth, meanmouth, shoal bass. I done told you about the shoal bass.
Yeah, you did. That kind of shocked me too, because we think of shoal bass just here in Georgia, but you got them up in Alabama. Let's see, a couple comments, and I'll let you answer this from Christopher Garrison. He needs to get out of his comfort zone with deep water. And let's see. He needs to get better at deep water. Any tips? He's an older dude, kind of needs some help. How does he get out of his comfort zone? And now Clint said, go fish marinas right now, heavy drop shot, small swim bait, which is one thing. But being from Alabama, you got anything different over there? I hear guys say that, especially Slick, Alabama. But anyway, what would you do to get out of his comfort zone for deep water fishing?
Go do it. 100%. Just take baits that you're very, very comfortable in. Find the fish first. Get to an area, if you've got electronics, get to an area where fish are there. And then just try everything that you're confident in to catch those fish, whether that's cranking, Texas rigworm, Carolina rig, shaky head, whatever you like to fish with, just go do it. That's like a lot of people. I've got a hummingbird video out that's like 160,000 views, and a lot of people ask me, how do I get to, like, I'm watching your video and I got the settings, but how do I really learn this? Just sit down and do it. That is the best way to learn anything, in my opinion. You can go watch 100 videos, but actually getting out there and doing it's going to help you more than anything. Number one, because you're getting the experience of doing it yourself. You're getting that muscle memory of how you move your rod with your baits and stuff like that. But on top of that, you're kind of getting that, if the conditions are one way that day and you go back next week and it's different and you don't catch anything, but the next week you go back and the conditions are similar, then you can put the puzzle pieces together. Okay, when the conditions are like this, I need to be doing this. And when the conditions are not like this, I need to be doing something else or figuring something else out, different bait or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Hogan says brush piles will help you learn a lot about offshore fishing. Just throw the kitchen sink at them and figure it out right there. Carson, whatever happened to the guy who was going to fish using his big toe? He hit us up on TikTok. He's down there, but his transmission went out. So I think he's got bigger things going on right now. We'll see if he goes ahead with the fishing. Gone fishing with that. Who took all the fish out of Lake Lanier over by Young Deer Ramp, fished there and got skunked? Listen, it's a poor musician who blames his instruments right there. Ed, it had to be you. Something's wrong with you. I would probably get skunked too. And you're not the only guy that got skunked this weekend. I talked to a lot of guys that got skunked on various lakes. In that case, he says, I get skunked on Lanier regularly. Colton, what's your go-to rig for each season and for shallow deep on that season? So let's just do it this way. Right now, going into the fall, give me one shallow bait, give me one deep bait.
For the fall, I'll give you one bait for both.
Okay.
A jerk bait. A jerk bait, 100%. A hard jerk bait. I actually did a video not too long ago talking about this. There's a technique that you can use, presentation, more to say, with hard jerk bait that a lot of people don't. And it's running the bait extremely fast. And I've had people in my boat go with me and they see me running the jerk bait and they're like, what in the world, dude? They're not going to be able to bite that because you're moving it so fast. But it's using the similar structure of deep cranking, so when you're deep cranking in the summer, you want to crank. I mean, you can't reel the bait fast enough. I mean, you're either going to go over them or either they're going to bite it. They really have no choice. It's kind of doing the same thing with a hard jerk bait. So you're moving that rod tip fast. You're popping that bait fast. You want a little bit of slack line. I do it on 15-pound fluorocarbon, so you don't have to go finessey on them or anything like that. It's kind of that hot potato analogy that I use a lot on my channel. It's kind of one of those things where if somebody throws something at you, you don't really want to catch it, but it's instinct to catch it, and that's kind of what you're triggering with the bass attitude.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic answer because earlier this year on Lanier, I was absolutely just getting my butt whipped trying to throw, and it was cold. This was in January. Trying to throw the jerk bait, doing that pop, getting it down, pausing, pop, which drives me crazy. Well, I got mad because we were getting whipped in a tournament. I just started bombing that thing, and I just started reeling it like a Seville. Wham, 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 and it was amazing. And I do it now, even in the summertime. Like I will at least sometime during a tournament throw a jerk bait out and run it because it does like the Seville, but you're down some. And you would be surprised. A lot of guys, I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought maybe I was the only fool in the world doing that, but apparently I'm not.
Well, with mine, I'm still popping my rod tip now. Here's the thing: you will blow out your arm if you do not work out at all. You will hate me for this technique because you will get out on the lake. I promise you this: if you see them schooling up, you can't get them to hit the top water. You can't get them to hit, the credge or whatever you use. And you swap to that jerk bait and you start running that joker 100 miles an hour. I mean, when I'm popping it, I'm popping it and reeling at the same time. If I pause, it's for a split second, and then I'm right back at it. And when they hammer it hard, but you're going to get a workout.
Yeah, that's the one. Now, I don't do the jerking so much. Maybe I need to add that to it. So, that'd be good. Messick Outdoors wants to know, well, first Silverpunk said, hey, Colton, I enjoy your content and how you answer all my questions. And then Messick Out, that's cool.
Dude, Silverpunk has been on my channel, I think, for a little over a year now. But great dude. And I really appreciate you watching me, man. I really do. It helps me a ton. And then it's great getting to talk to you guys.
That's absolutely awesome. I feel the same way about guys like that. Messick wants to know, how did you feel about Murray with their largemouth? Because you said you went to Lake Murray. How'd you feel about it?
It's a lot different, in my opinion. Largemouth, largemouth and spotted bass, their attitudes are different completely. Now, with the herring being in Murray, now it's been a long time since I've been to Murray. But with that being said, I noticed I just kind of had to slow down a little more, if that made sense. And then the areas and stuff were all kind of the same, clay and stuff like that. But as far as like presenting my bait, I noticed kind of like instead of just like I was talking about with the jerk bait, just wide open on the jerk bait, I'm kind of having to slow down a little more with it and just kind of be a little bit more methodical when presenting my bait to fish on Lake Murray. But I mean, the size of the largemouth and stuff, I mean, back when I went, which like I said, I can't remember exactly how long ago it was, but it's been over 8 years. So it's been a minute.
Okay.
But the size of the fish, I mean, to me, it just kind of like a normal, lake around my area.
Right. I like that. I also want to say too, because there's a big conversation going on in the comment section about fizzing fish and everything. And Clint, appreciate you doing most of that work right there, because there's a bunch of them. You guys got your own conversation going on, and that's what I love about this thing. Is like I got guys, man. They're gonna help you out no matter where. Jack Butler wants to know, what do you use on a wacky rig on a blueback herring lake? I know what I use. What do you use, or do you even throw a wacky? Because you might not like that finessey stuff.
No, I absolutely do. Listen, yesterday when I went out on the lake, I used a KVD Dream Shot with just an octopus hook, nose hooked it, and was working it just like a fluke, caught over 40 fish. So that's really all. But that's about all we could get them to bite. So,
Yeah.
With the wacky rig, I typically like going with the Dinger. I'll put that hook right through the middle. Sometimes I use a O-ring. It's typically during like the pre-spawn, if that makes sense.
Right.
So during the pre-spawn, I'll put an O-ring on. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But as far as presentation wise, as the year goes on, especially towards midsummer, late summer, into fall, I think the O-ring, in my opinion, like you said, makes a big difference. As far as I just think it's just something off.
Yeah, I'm the only time I'll use an O-ring is when I'm gonna bomb it. If I'm gonna bomb it, I might do that. I will say this, Jack Butler on Lanier, and now don't get me wrong, you can use green pumpkin, any of your basic colors anywhere, but I like to use more shad style, like the Yamamoto's, and it's called Monster Shad, and I forget the number. I should have it memorized, but it is more translucent green with a little, kind of goldish chartreuse flake. They say, whatever. That's what I like to use. Silverpunk wants to know, since you're doing your jerk bait back really fast, are you using a smaller jerk bait since you're retrieving it so fast?
Yeah, 100%. So 99% of the time I'm using the Mega Bass 110 Junior. Okay. Rarely do I get away from that. Now, as kind of the end of fall starts coming in, the water temperature starts really, really cooling down. I may go to like a slash 110 and then just kind of bring that presentation slowly down until we get into the full winter time. Just they want something to pause for 30 minutes, so,
Gotcha, yeah.
Which I'm exaggerating, but
oh yeah, absolutely. Now, guys, listen, he's going to have to leave us here in about probably 5-7 minutes like that. So if you got any other questions, for Colton,
I'll be able to stay on until about 12. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I thought for some reason I knew you was different time zone, and I'm confused. Okay, so you got a few more minutes. All right. So let me ask 30. You this: about 30. Okay. Well, you let me know. Again, I don't want to keep you. I know you got stuff to do. You got forward facing on your boat. First of all, what brand do you use?
Active Target Lowrance.
You're a Lowrance guy.
Yep.
Okay. What is it about Lowrance that you like over the others?
I already had Lowrance graphs.
So there you go. So it's an economical choice, right? Is that what you're saying?
Economical. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm all about economy. You can ask my wife. I'm a cheapskate, man.
Hey, I understand it. How do you utilize forward facing when you're fishing shallow, when you're doing your power fishing?
I really like right now. So they've drawed our lake down, like where I was at yesterday. They drawed the lake down big time. So being able to be out on the typical areas where I keep my boat, flipping this grass and fishing grass and stuff like that. That grass is not in the water anymore. So being able to look, 80 to 100 feet out in front of my boat and see the bait out there tells me that I need to be moving out and staying into that zone. So I typically use it to tell me where I need to position my boat more than kind of just looking for fish, because I don't mind catching them on forward facing sonar, but I don't get that, there's a big one, or, I just got bit, I don't get that excitement out of it. So I use it really just to position my boat to where I think the fish are going to be.
Okay. Clark on TikTok. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to Colton Posey of Colton Posey Fishing. Go on YouTube, all that. Just Google it name. It's on everything. It's Colton and then Posey on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm just going to start picking somebody that follows us on YouTube and bringing them in here. So he's been watching the program for a while. Eventually, one day we'll figure out how to get his face on the TikTok, but right now with our stuff, we can't do that. So you're just having to listen to it. But if you want to see them, you can go to YouTube at FNGO. Do you ever come to South Carolina? If any, which lake is your favorite? How much fishing in South Carolina have you done? Not much.
Just Murray.
Just Murray.
And when I fished Murray, like I said, it's been a long time ago. I don't know exactly when it was, but it's been over 7 or 8 years. It was a long time ago. I remember I had a 92 Bumblebee that I sent a piston through the side of the motor. So,
so T White on TikTok said Santee. A lot of guys like that lake, and I don't know who's doing what on TikTok because again, I'm not versed on it. But whoever's sending all them smiley faces and crowns and all that stuff, I appreciate you. Bottom Line Outdoors said he caught about 20 bass this weekend on a Japanese bait. And good Lord, I'm about to absolutely murder this pronunciation. Madotachi soft honey toss. I mean, I don't know. Madohachi soft honey toss, I guess. If you can find them, give them a try. I really have no idea what that is. So bottom line, where did you get them? How about you let us know that and we'll go look at them. Steven Sturgeon's got a question for you. I have a hard time knowing when to put down the power rig during the day and switch to the more subtle stuff. Is it just a gut feeling, or do you have any clues you follow that will make you switch?
a little bit of both. So the gut feeling that comes down to what I was talking about earlier to the other gentleman. You know, getting out there and doing it is going to tell you more than any YouTube channel or blog or whatever can ever tell you. Now, the other side of it is if I see fish chasing shad, especially this time of year, you got to understand these fish have been beat up by crankbaits, spinner baits, flukes, everything. Everything that you think you're going to throw that they haven't seen, they've saw it at least 20 times. So this time of year is a good time to really recognize that if I'm not getting bit off my power stuff, like I did yesterday, swap over to a more finesse style bait that mimics the shad to the best of your ability. I'm not one of those huge guys that talks about colors. Like, I think you should have every color known to man of the Yum Dinger and the Yamamoto and all this. I think if you got a green pumpkin and you're catching fish, then if you run out of them and you go to a watermelon, you're probably going to catch them. But this time of year, color is very, very important, and size is too. So what I try to do this time of year, if I'm fishing a threadfin shad fishery with shad this big, I want to use something as close as I can to that size with, you know, every single color to match up to the best of my ability. So
I love that. You get them 100-pack Yum Dingers?
Yeah, and I've had them in my boat for I don't know how long because I don't use a whole lot of soft plastics anymore. So
I understand that, but listen, you can't beat a Yum Dinger. Not for the value. Not for the value.
I do like the Yamamoto a little better, but man, they just tear up so fast.
Oh, no, listen, I'm going to go to the Yamamoto first thing. 100% of the time, I'm going to go to the Yamamoto. But, like when we fish over at Latham in a tournament, I'm back in the sticks and in the timber and all that, I'm doing it. I'm going Yum Dinger all the time because you're going to get a lot of quick hits pulling you back in that you're going to miss a bunch. So it makes sense. So Mike Geiger says, so next question. I have an ABA team tournament on Clark Hill this Sunday. Any juice? All right. You know anything about Clark's Hill? Because we get a lot of guys that watch us. I don't know that much. So you guys might have to help Geiger out in the comment section if you have fished Clark's Hill recently. I know there were some high schoolers over that way, but I haven't been on it. I wouldn't know what to do right now on Clark's Hill.
I really don't either. I usually stick close to my areas just because of my situation. I'm very, very busy outside of the fishing world, so I kind of try to stick, kind of close, within an hour and a half drive if I can. So I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. Now, Cam says with a name like that, I'm sure they catch fish. That's back up to the Madahachi soft honey toss. I guess. Can you see the comments?
There's an option to pull it up.
Okay, I just want to see if you could pronounce the thing any better than me. So,
that ain't happening. I went to county school, brother. We taught half our teachers. It wasn't the other way around.
I know, dude. Listen, trust me, I know that one. Let's see. Dead Rabbit. Dinger has the best price point still, I believe, but I don't believe the action of some others. And Dead Rabbit, you're right. You're right. We when we had the bait tank out the other night, we dropped a few down. And, you know, your yum dingers and all that, they're just, listen, though, you can catch fish on them. I think you get a little more action with a Yamamoto, but you're going to throw off. And, you know, if you're fishing with Yamamotos and you're fussing about losing a bunch of them, I always make that equal to buying a Jeep and then fussing about the gas mileage. You know what you're getting before you go in like that. And thank God the Jeeps are gone. It was Jeep Fest up here this weekend. I've seen more people in Jeeps that don't ever have Jeeps out in the woods. You know what I'm saying? The guys, the city Jeeps, all come up here to Pickens County. It's a good cause, but my Lord, they were everywhere. Let's see. I almost went through a bulk pack of yum dingers yesterday. And that's on Lanier, right? Because I imagine you're pre-fishing. What is the one? I want to ask this because I love asking this question. What is the one thing you absolutely are terrible at? Like, that would be the last way you would try to fish. And if you're fishing that way, you have absolutely just gone through every other option.
Shaking a minnow.
Okay, minnow. You just don't like it?
I haven't practiced with it enough. So I've got a little technique that I use that's similar to it. Because I've tried all the stuff everybody talks about, the VMC hybrid head and the freeload. I don't have luck with it. I just don't. I don't think I'm confident enough in it, is what it is.
Right.
But I actually buy a darter head. The darter head, you know what I'm talking about? It's got like the bullet head on it.
Yep.
I take the darter head and I take a Zoom tiny fluke. And I put on the back of that, dude, and I smoke them everywhere. If I can't get them to bite anything else, I'll throw that. But shaking a minnow that everybody talks about, you know, as far as like the pros and the other content creators and stuff, I just can't catch fish off of it. I've got bit, but I can't get a hook in them. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. It's not my favorite thing to do at all. Dead Rabbit says, you're a big Cinco guy. Highly recommend buying you a quality mold and making your own because you run through them so much. Yeah, but I'm lazy, dude. I got too many other things. To me, I hate to say it, it's just easy to buy one. And kind of owning a tackle shop, I kind of get a pretty good price on them. How many rubber ducks did you see this weekend? An absolute ton. I still do not understand the rubber duck craze on the Jeeps. And I know guys have told me about this, but I just don't see, if you're a 45, 50-year-old man and you're coming up here to, you know, let the women see your Jeep and you got 800 ducks on your dash, to me, that would be the biggest turnoff in the world. But, you know, hey, that's just me. That's just me. What is your, how about this? Who is your biggest influence getting you into fishing? Who influenced you the most?
Gerald Swindle, 100%. And it's not because of reasons that you think. It's not because I thought that he was one of the best fishermen in the world or anything like that. It's just his attitude and the whole PMA thing. I'm big on the whole PMA thing. I have a hard time seeing people just struggle with, you know, depression, anxiety, anger, everything. So he was one of my biggest influences as far as like deciding, hey, this is kind of one of those things that I want to do. And then obviously watching Kevin Van Dam catch 100 fish, you know, on a crankbait, that was, when I was a kid, that was the most exciting thing. But, you know, 100% I'd have to say Gerald.
Okay. Phil says it's how many men they have had relations with. They keep count by the rubber ducks. I think you got some bad information, Phil, on that. And I know it was started by a young girl. It's a trend that took off. Now that might be what it maybe to some, but I don't think that's exactly how it started. But anyway, to each their own. If you want to do that, rubber ducks, or you want to notch something in your bedpost, whatever, that's all on you guys. Let's see here. Try to find you something. I'm with you on the ducks and the Jeep. Absolute desecration. Doug Rice saw all those Jeeps. But anyway, okay, so G-Man is funny. Now, let me ask you this. If you could change one thing about professional fishing across the board, whether it's NPFL, MLF, Bass, one thing, you're the president of all of them. Let's just say all the organizations are coming together. How about that? Let me propose that. All the professional bass organizations are coming together. You are the absolute president, dictator. You get to make the decision. What's the first thing you're going to change in professional fishing?
Man, you're gonna put me right on the spot, ain't you?
Yes, sir. I am.
Oh, I thought we was friends.
We are. Live scope rules. 100. Kaylee Green says that on TikTok. Live scope rules. Sorry about that.
One thing I would change, 100% the payouts. Okay. I would do everything I could to change the monetary system of how professional fishing works to where hopefully you could get to maybe smaller venues or something that's not going to cost you near as much and just kind of survive off the sponsor dollars and maybe find a different way to make money as a tournament organization. But one of the biggest things that I think would help a ton is just what these guys pay in, besides bass, obviously, now because they don't have to pay. But I think those guys, if they enter the tournament, if they pay this amount of money to enter the circuit that year, they should be fishing for that same amount of money, if that makes sense. So whatever they paid in should go towards those payouts. Period. Because I'm big on. If you're going, anybody that's ever worked with me knows if you're going to work with me, you're going to work hard. Okay. I'm big about working hard. So just like back in the old FLW days, Force Wood got Walmart as a sponsor, right? So that fueled a lot of stuff for the FLW. I really think a lot of these tournament organizations and stuff could hopefully, maybe they need to get some new marketing guys in there or something, but reaching out to a lot of these, non-endemic sponsors and, really try to hunker down on getting those payouts up for those guys. Cause a lot of people don't understand how much money these guys spend, just trying to do what they love. And a lot of them that you see out there with the beautiful boats and the beautiful trucks and stuff, they're not in a whole lot better shape than I am when it comes financially. Some of them probably a lot worse just because they spend so much money and time, and I hate to see it. I really do.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Justin Fravel on TikTok. What's the one bait you are throwing for the Big Bass Bash in October?
That's
a good question. Are you fishing that?
No, first I'm not.
If you were,
if I was, I would probably throw a frog. To be honest with you.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
It kind of just depends on the weather, right? Because we just got out of August, but today the high here is 76. This is crazy for Alabama. So that's it just kind of depends. But I would probably throw a frog. Or if it's cooled down way too much, I would probably do everything I could to learn how to fish a glide and throw a glide.
Yeah. Big bait for big bass. Now, Phil has an interesting proposal. Why not make the purses for those who don't use forward-facing sonar where they should get bigger payouts than people using forward-facing sonar? I don't think that's going to work, Phil. I get what you're saying that. I don't know how that would work because they all pay the same entry fee. So now Justin says on TikTok, personally, I'm going to the glide always. It cashes a few checks. So that makes sense. Now, Blue-Eyed Bandit 9412, we caught a lot on the shaky head yesterday. Can never go wrong with a shaky head, no matter where you're at. Do you utilize the shaky head any at all? Because I know you said you don't use a lot of plastics.
Yeah, I do when I'm up on Lewis Smith. It just kind of depends on the day. So I use two different styles. I use the spot sticker with a 90-degree line tie. I prefer the one with no screw lock because I like leaving that little bit of bend in the worm. That way it spirals as it falls. But the other one that I really, really like when I need that real subtle presentation, I catch a lot of fish like this during the winter all over, excluding Lewis Smith. But I will actually buy the Yum pumpkin head and use a Yum dinger, and I will rig it up like a shaky head and then just drag that sucker across bottom. I don't know why that thing gets bite. It's the ugliest cross-eyed thing I've ever seen besides my sister. And,
you said it. You said that I didn't. about spit out my dip when you said that right there. So I get it. I get it. Blue Eyed Bandit was on Jordan Lake. Hey, where did you get your darter heads at? Because I don't have any here at the shop currently. So if Christopher Garrison wanted to order some, where could he order them at?
Tackle Warehouse. Just get the Kalen darter heads.
Kalen
darter
yeah,
heads.
yeah.
K-A-I or K-A-L-I-N. I told you I went to county school, but Kalen darter heads.
You're close. They'll find it because it's going to be one of the few companies that start with a K. So you shouldn't have no problem like that. Doug Rice says, I have to agree with you on G-Man. He's a stand-up dude. Christopher says he's got to get caught up on the new trends. We all do. You got to have one of these shows, and then somebody says something, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Trust me. That's why I surround myself with good people. The pros trying to make it are living on credit cards. A lot of them are. That's true. Jack Butler wants to know, what's the one lure bait you never use that you would never use?
Ooh.
Or you've never used?
A tube. A tube, like just regular rigging it up on a tube jig head. I've never used it. I've used it on chatterbaits before, but just rigging it up like you're supposed to rig it up, I've never really found a whole lot of use for a tube. And I don't think, even if I went somewhere where tubes are useful, I don't really think I would, use a tube.
I agree with you 100% on the tube. 100% on the tube. Fred Ashcraft says big jig equals big bass. Dead Rabbit says all about money and capitalism. Well, that is what it is. They are businesses. Wait, what? Buddy from, I believe it's Maryland, right? I always get you confused. I think you're Maryland. I believe I've hit the holy grail for lure presentation. I'm taking skirted jig rubber strands, taking a needle and pulling them through my tubes. Immediate success. So he's jumping on the dice game with his tubes. So Maryland. So he's in Maryland like that. So that makes sense. We Southern boys don't throw tubes that much. So I can imagine that would work for sure. But yeah, tubes are interesting. I had a guy come in the shop and he's like, hey, where's your tubes? And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, why is anybody around here? But he was from up north. Colin Steele. He's been on the show a couple of times. But he down here, he'll throw tubes. Not all the time, but especially, I think I would say more like colder months, he likes throwing a tube. So more power to him, I guess, with that for sure, like that. So, all right, guys, listen, we're getting close to where he's getting ready to have to jump off. So if you got any more questions for our boy, just throw it out there. And again, Colton, it's Colton Posey Fishing. If you just Google it, all his social media is the same thing, Colton Posey Fishing. All right, I got a question. When it comes to what you do, now you're trying to make content and you're trying to help out other people learn how to fish. To me, I think that's what we all should be doing like that. What is the biggest struggle you have found so far in getting your message across, like on your channels?
Oof, man, so probably I didn't have internet until about 2 years ago. Never on the computer.
You are in Alabama.
Yeah, bro, I'm so far out in the woods. My driveway is a mile long. Like it's tough, but
yeah, I got you.
Just learning how to use all this stuff and learning about algorithms and hashtags and that is the hardest part for me. And then two, I drop videos every Monday, Thursday, and then Friday I do a weekly fishing report on my lakes around my area and river systems.
Right.
It is very, very difficult at times when the fish become stagnant to come up with content, because my thing is I don't want to be just putting out content to put out content. I want to put out some type of content where somebody says, I needed that video because I was doing this wrong, or I was doing something that I was confused about, and I got it now. I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and try it. So that's kind of like my biggest struggle, in my opinion. We're getting there, but it's just taking a little bit of time, and then, I don't know what it is, man, but it drives me up the wall. There's so much drama in bass fishing now. It's a lot of people just like that kind of content. And I've had a couple of content that I put out, something along those lines, just kind of giving my opinion on stuff. But, I just don't want to be that channel that is doing all that. That's not what I enjoy, and I don't care to do that. Now, if I see something that really bothers me, then I'm like, I'm going to speak up about it, because I do have a platform and I can, and you know what I mean. But, that's kind of the hard part, in my opinion.
I totally get that. I totally get it. A lot of times, like I see something and I want to like say something, but I'm like, that's not our channel. You know what I'm saying? That's not our channel. Last question for you before you go. Jack Butler wants to know, have you ever tried kayak fishing?
Brother, I'm 263 pounds. I am not getting in no kayak. That's basically like that's like putting a hound dog on a toothpick and trying to send him down the water. That ain't working.
Oh yeah.
I don't. A buddy of mine, Spur Mountain Outdoors, he's on YouTube too. He does all kind of fishing and hunting stuff. He's in love with the kayak, and seeing his stuff, and the kayak that he has now, him being able to stand up and it being pretty stable and all that. Because I don't know if I can sit down and fish. I've got ADHD through the roof, so I'm always winding, chunking, and looking over here and looking over there, and I can't sit down and fish. I just can't. So, I may give it a try. I have to get in his kayak and see if I like it. If I like it, then I'd, maybe go somewhere like that, because I can see me enjoying that type of fishing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, like, dude, so you've given me enough of your time today. I know you got stuff to do. So want to say thank you very much for joining us and for watching. That's the big thing. And I want people to see that. Guys, everybody's watching. Colton Posey Fishing. Go give him a sub and follow his stuff. And then, I want to say thank you, first of all, for being a viewer of us at FNGO, and then for being willing to do, come on today. Like, that's very interesting to see, who's out there following you and everything like that. So I appreciate you doing that.
Danny, anytime, buddy, let me know. I'll be glad to come back. I greatly appreciate you having me on, because it does help me too. So, I greatly appreciate it. I love the stuff you guys put out. I appreciate you having me on. It's always nice meeting people and talking about fishing, because that's what I love to do. So
that's what it is, man. I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure, buddy. So you go take care of your business, and I will talk to you on the flip side sometime.
See you, buddy.
Boss. All right, guys. So there you go, right there. You know what? That was pretty cool. Now, some of you guys like Pontoon Jody. She's a catfish. She's catfishing. She said the fish are stagnant, which is what I heard a lot of people say. I pulled hard 7 hours fishing Chester Frost in Chattanooga, my best spots, and I got skunked. So yeah, absolutely. And then Dead Rabbit says, I think lure action tanks are great content videos. Yeah, we got to do some more. And I promise I'm going to get them clean next time we do that. So Doug, I saw your question right about the time I hit him to go off. Listen, anybody that does social media, has haters. That is some of us more than others. And again, I think it also too depends on what kind of content you put out. I do know this, like I see some like take Tony Collum that's up here with us, and on his channels, when he puts out a how-to or a little video, okay, he's never saying this is the gospel of how you have to do this, and it's the only way to do that. He just gives people an option, and you would be amazed. Well, if you read the comments, you wouldn't. There's always those guys that, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they didn't think of, making the videos, or they're mad somebody else is getting to do it, or they're just like, you know what? I'm just got my head stuck in the sand, and this is the only way it's going to be. And they will come out every single time. I think if you're more like Cerebral Tackle, and I kind of messaged with him a little bit this morning, and you kind of stay into the content that's like could be considered controversial, you're going to get a lot more of that than somebody like us that we kind of try to steer clear of it. But it is interesting, to hear his perspective. I wish I'd have got that question in, but I'm sure just like, and what's sad is, like, let's say he fishes Smith Lake out there. And I did ask him about Lanier, but there's always this guy that might be on Lanier that's going to say, well, Smith Lake stinks. It's no good compared. You know what I'm saying? So much less if you ever try to do the how-to stuff. The how-to stuff, you get ridiculous comments. All right, you guys over there in 41 seconds over there on TikTok, I'm going to try to restart this thing again. This is the dumbest thing in the world, but hopefully I won't lose you guys over there on TikTok. Let's see. Okay, Roger Gibson, we talked about Alabama white sauce last week when we were talking about barbecue. He went and ordered some. All right, and he texted me a picture of it. Alabama white sauce, more of a vinegar vegetable taste than regular barbecue sauce. Goes better with chicken than pork or beef. That I can agree with because that's what most guys will use it for. So 100%. But yeah, the vinegar, it is a little bit different. It's much thinner. And anyway, it's going to keep going, and that's not giving me the option to let you guys keep going. So anyway, we just lost TikTok. That's all right. Okay, so Steven can't come. So hey, listen, any of you guys that want to come, if you guys ever want to be on the lunch break, you guys can message me on Facebook or Danny at fngo.com. Steven can't, and I get it 100%. Wait, what? If you're still watching, you're from Maryland, I'd love to get you on. So hit me up. Again, you can email me, Danny at fngo.com, or message me on Facebook. John says, okay, let me get back to the comment section. So now we're rolling here. I have got to get back over. Guys, I tell you what, listen, I appreciate Tim and Alex and all that because it is a pain in the butt switching views and all that by yourself. Tyler says, Tyler, we're talking about the bites being stagnant. That's what we were talking about. Toxicity of social media, but spook off older folks. True, I can see that. John said the bite's not stagnant in the rivers right now. Caught several on the Okmulgee, Oconee, and Chattahoochee rivers this past week, and I saw some good pics from the rivers. And I just wonder if rivers aren't as affected by the temperature swings and stuff as a lake is. I don't know the answer to that question. Somebody smarter than me can answer that. But I've often thought about that because to me, rivers seem to be stable. Like, you know what you're going to get year round, no matter what the weather is, unless of course they get blowed out muddy. That's something totally different. Tyler said, I didn't think the bite was stagnant on Lanier. It wasn't the best action, but it was slow and steady. Yesterday, the schooling fish didn't want to commit to anything that I threw at them. Tyler, I'm curious, did you downsize? What were you throwing at them, Tyler? Jack Butler, what is the best part of Hollis Q Latham? Now, I will tell you this. When you get on one of the smaller lakes like that, I'm not a gatekeeper. And if you were in here in front of me, I would tell you. But guys would blast me if I told you a specific part. So, because there's 340-acre lake, it would absolutely get blasted. So that's why I never give out like a spot on Latham or Hickory Log or anything like that. I will tell you this. If you have forward-facing sonar, find bait. If you want largemouth, even though there's some out there schooling, beat your banks, hit your timber. If you're looking for spots, stay on the main lake. But I will say the farther up you go, the better the fishing. So that's about it. But if you want to message me, like on Facebook, shoot me a messenger. Then I'll kind of tell you my favorite spots. Fresh Air Barbecue is the best in Georgia. Argue with a wall, Coleman says on that. And then Philip says Coleman Jones Mooney's is greater than Fresh Air. I have no idea. About either one of those. Listen, if barbecue is just half decent, I'll eat it. So I love it. Danny, I have a question about content. Let me know a time I can contact you about it. Message me or send me a text and we'll figure out a time. Let's see. That's in Flowery Branch. Trying to catch up on the comment section. There you go. So Tony's there. But Tony will tell you. You can be the most helpful joker in the world. And somebody's going to come out of the woodwork. And they're going to try to knock you down. You just kind of have to take those people with a grain of salt. Sometimes you want to engage them. Sometimes you want to, kind of give them, but you can't. You can't do that because that just feeds it. Okay, it just feeds it. Cam and then went 39 miles out this weekend and got on some snapper. I tried fried snapper for the first time. I'm sad we've been wasting the meat. By far the best tasting meat I've ever had in my life. There you go. Hutchinson crushed it on the hoots this weekend. So, yeah, rivers, back to the rivers. Pontoon Jody said, dead rabbit. I use gills and skips, not a bite. But I will say I also didn't see any bait fish at all up on the lake. Skipjacks did move back into the dams this weekend, though. Again, that might have a lot to do with it. I mean, I think that's just across the board, right, Jody? Whether you're bass fishing, cat fishing, brim fishing, whatever, you got to find the bait that they're on for sure. And if you ain't got it, it is going to make it very tough. Messick wants to know, how many of you guys went dove hunting yesterday? I know that's random, but just curious. You know how this show is. We talk about anything. Dove season in Georgia, I don't think opens until this Saturday, I believe. I believe it's this Saturday for us. So I know some surrounding states may have opened up earlier, but I think for us, it's this Saturday. And you guys can correct me in the comments if I am wrong on that. Alex said he did pretty good on Lanier this weekend. Didn't you get your PB? I want to say I know you had a big one. Let's see. Tyler said I threw a 4.5 minnow at him, shaking and burning it, and then downsized to a 3-inch and did the same thing. They would follow it, but not biting it. Ended up catching my fish, dragging a jig. Tyler, didn't I tell you to put a rooster tail on there? Didn't I tell you to have a white rooster tail tied on? You'd have caught those fish, Tyler. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But that's what I would do. Where are the fish at Latham? I went Saturday and only caught 4. Because Alex and John and all them went over sore lipping them all. Latham right now, seriously, there were some guys that went to Latham this weekend and struggled a little bit. They struggled a little bit. Latham's like any other lake. It seems like right now, though, I did tell you to throw a rooster tail. But it's Latham goes through these periods where, like, it is tough. It's just like any lake. And then it'll last. And then, sometimes I've seen it last. I don't fish as much as I used to fish it. But sometimes I could have been just crushing. And then all of a sudden, and then for about 2 weeks, it was just, and it wasn't the lake turning over or anything. I don't just, sometimes it's like that. Carson want to know what happened. I think I told you the guy with the tow. Yeah, he went down to Florida that's fishing with his tow. His transmission broke, and I don't know what he's doing right now, if he's stranded down there, if he's gotten the fish at all. Tony says, yeah, you got to have thick skin. And for the folks that say older folks are scared off, they have been the worst of the absolute hateful comments. Older people, yeah. You know why? Because it's just like Clint Eastwood, that get off my lawn kind of thing. They're just going to gripe. They got to have something to gripe about. I know some old people like that. It's like, I don't know. I'm like, dude, if I'm on the back end of my life, I'm going to be happy. I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to appreciate everything. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yeah. All right, I'm in my 50s. This is supposed to be the time that I'm supposed to start, like, becoming that, I'm talking about that white male that's supposed to just, like, be unhappy with everything in the world. That was me in the 30s. I am loving life now when it comes to that. But Alex did catch. He caught a big largemouth. He caught an absolutely big largemouth. And that Alex, that was what part of? No, well, it was on Lanier, correct? Because I think you said he went out there. I don't know how crazy Lanier was. You guys may know. I would suspect that now we're going to start seeing what should be a slower trend down to all the crazies on Lanier on the weekend, but. We've been out there in 17 degrees in January, and here comes a guy jet skiing and, or whatever they do out there with their swimsuits. Can't imagine Danny is a hateful, miserable dude. That's my family, dude. Let me tell you how bad I was, and I'm ashamed of this, but I'll tell you how bad I was. You remember when the Wii came out? You know what I'm talking about? That Wii, that whatever. You had to do you can make your faces. Avatar, is that what they call them? Your avatar? My kids made mine, and it was a frowny face. To this day, if I look like I am crossed or angry at something, my wife and my kids will go, "There's your wee face," and I have to immediately go like, "Oh no, I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean that." Which I'm ashamed of that, but yeah, that's why they say pre-Jesus Danny and post-Jesus Danny. I still make the Lord work, though, the entire time. Pers and I are getting the big fish juices. And let's see right there. So I think, he was in the Habersham area. We caught that big one. Well, so what we're going to do, let's see. Oh, yeah, I do agree. A lot of us older folks do go from 0 to rampage in 2 seconds. I feel like as I age like fine wine, or whatever, stink bait, whatever you want to call it. I feel like the older I get, the less I am to go off. It could be the medication. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, Land Outdoors, we got them there right there. Appreciate it. But I don't know why that is and why we have to be that way. I guess we just get tired of a lot of BS. But, I don't know. I think that's just what you're supposed to do, right? What I want to be, though, let me tell you, like my wife is going through, you know, women things that they go through at certain ages, like that. And it's super tough on them and all that. But you know who I love the most? Like when you get that herb settled me down, dead rabbit, listen at you. When you get to that old woman, 75, 80, 85, she can just pass gas anywhere she wants and doesn't care anything about it. Like that's what I want to attain, where I can just go shit myself and nobody says a word, or just say whatever you want. Old women can just absolutely they can just blow up the entire room and then absolutely just tell you just exactly, what they feel and then get away with it. Old people, I resemble that remark. You ain't that old, Doug. You know what I'm talking about. And them old women, now you want somebody that's not, that was my grandma. See, now that's a goal in life. Like once you reach, Tyler says I do that now. But listen, you can't do that. You get popped in the mouth right now though. Now you may pass gas, but if you say what you want, you might have to deal with something. Ain't nobody gonna mess with an 80-year-old woman. My granny would come. My granny, when she was alive, somebody'd walk in, one of my aunts or cousins or something like that. Well, you look like you've gained weight. Now go home and tell that to your wife and see if you ain't getting popped. But listen, they can get away with it. I mean, she would. You ain't eating her or something, whatever she'd say. And they'd be like, things that you can't say that, they can get away with. People have gotten comfortable talking however they want it without consequences. I promised face to face they wouldn't say any of it, and that gives me solace. That is true. We are all brave. Excuse me. We're all brave behind a keyboard, or a lot of people are on social media for sure. And that's kind of what CT and I were talking about this morning. Because he's gotten a lot of people fussing about some of his content. And so he wanted my honest opinion on it. And I told him, I gave him my honest opinion, which I didn't see nothing wrong with it. Don't feel bad about your wee face. Some people's faces are just shaped that way. Steven, what are you saying? Are you calling me fat? You say I got a fat, round face? Fred says he's only 43 and still can't stand foolish acting people. Well, you wouldn't like us because I'm pretty foolish. I'm getting better. I am absolutely getting better. All right, so guys like that. So anyway, tonight, 8 o'clock, okay? 8 o'clock, I want you guys to come back. Clint and Alex will be in here, and I'm looking for a guy in the third to fill the third seat. And we're just going to talk about Lanier and the bite right now and kind of what these guys are planning going forward into Ryan's tournament Saturday. So it's just going to be some good conversation and discussion. And we'd love to have your insights, as to what you guys are seeing out there. They don't have to be just Lanier, but that's what we're going to talk about. Jeremy got on too late. I ain't leaving just yet. I just want to make sure people join us tonight. My granny killed a huge rattlesnake with a garden hoe when I was fishing while I was fishing back when I was 10 or 12. So listen, you know what? My granny Pruitt was like that. She could see now. I don't know. Cletus, I don't know. I have to go. I'll text you afterwards. I got to go read. I don't know the number. But she could see, like, she always had a garden. She would hoe her garden. And, when Papa was alive, he'd do it. But Granny always kept it going. She would see the ground move. And just by looking at the ground, all of a sudden she'd go whack with a hoe. And it would be a snake. Now, back then, you guys know the old wives' tale where if you hung a snake in a tree after you killed it, it's supposed to rain. Y'all remember that growing up? Well, I did that one time at my Papa Gilbert's house. He used to live beside me. And I did that. I popped a snake because he had chickens. I was trying to keep him out of his chickens. And I hung that up in the tree in his front yard, and it didn't rain for, 2 months. Papa told me, and it stunk. My gosh, a dead snake stinks. He told me don't ever do that. He would wear me out again. Let's see. Hey, I appreciate the compliment, Dead Rabbit. Spread it around. We want it to grow. Alex said, okay, I dropped the juice on the bigs I've been catching tonight. Now, let's go ahead. What's the over-under on him sandbagging a little bit? Speaking of which, too, listen, I was going to do the football picks today, but Colton said he was going to be able to talk longer, so we're going to do the football picks tomorrow. But we didn't do well. Guys, we did not do very well on our football picks. So anyway, I think I'm gonna end it with that right there, and go ahead and get back. I got a lot of work to be done. You know how it is when you take 3 days off. But I hope you guys enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. I absolutely did, because honestly, I didn't think about anything but getting that honeydew list done before my wife got home from Virginia. So I was like totally concentrating on that. Totally concentrating on that. But I enjoyed it. My place looks a lot better. Sometimes we put things off, because we're doing other things. Lord knows my landscaping is terrible and it needed it, but the house looks better. So, but I'm glad to be back in here. Got some jigs to paint and tie, all that stuff, getting ready for tonight. So if you're in the area and you want to just come around and hang out during the show, or matter of fact, if you're in the area and you want to sit in seat number 3, hey, hit me up. Hit me up. We can do that. So anyway, with that, Facebook is jacking up again. It gives me this notice, but I don't care. We're going to end it. You guys have a great rest of your day. See you tonight at 8. And if not, see you tomorrow at 12. You guys be good.